Hi, I'm Sean, and this is a Pokemon challenge. So I'm going to show a video of me using a Weedle to try and beat the champion starting from Pallet Town. The rules for this run are in the description, and I'll try to explain some important points along the way. The first big thing to point out is that I needed to modify the game files in order to be able to start with a Weedle. The next big thing here to point out is that this whole challenge is merely a thought experiment rather than a real challenge. There's no real strategy involved with using Weedle. It knows two moves, Poison Sting and String Shot. They're both bad. You can use up your power points to use Struggle, which I do use this a couple of times. Again though, there's no real strategy to this. Grind a lot and get lucky. The only real semblance of strategy in this run is the method that you would use to grind XP for Weedle. My method is predominantly to KO normal types since they don't resist poison and don't have high defense. For Brock, I grinded up to level 28 to beat his Geodude and Onix. I should have used Struggle here, I think. I didn't. Next up is Rival 2 and Misty, neither of which are particularly noteworthy. After that, I made my way to Vermilion City and took on Rival 3 on the S.S.N. He's tougher than before, nothing else to say. Beat him, then quickly dealt with Surge. The second major roadblock I'm faced with is a trainer that has both a Cubone and a Slowpoke. The Cubone won't go down quickly and it uses Growl to reduce my attack. This makes it harder to bring down the Slowpoke. This is the second time I should have used Struggle, but I decided to grind up to level 43 to beat this trainer instead. The third major roadblock occurs in the same area against a trainer with two Geodudes and a Graveler. It may have been a good idea to use Struggle here, not sure though. I basically brute forced my way through this fight, resetting until all three Pokemon self-destructed on me. Next I make my way to Celadon City and take out Erica for the Rainbow Badge. I need to get the Sylph Scope next, so I head into the Rocket Hideout. I quickly make my way to Giovanni, roadblock number 5. This one is real though. I started this fight at level 46 and quickly realized that I was hardwalled. I grinded up to level 55 and proceeded to try again. I hadn't decided to use Struggle yet, and I wonder if this was the fight to use it on. With Brute Force and resets, I wanted to get his Onix and Rhyhorn poisoned right away so that I could get to the Kangaskhan with a decent amount of HP. After many resets, I get the results that I need. I take care of Rival 4 quickly, without stress. After some trouble climbing the Pokemon Tower, I eventually get the Pokeflute. I make my way to Fuchsia City through routes 12, 13, 14, and 15. I take out as many trainers as I can. I got pretty exhausted dealing with all the poison type trainers, which again, I should have just resorted to using Struggle at this point. Not sure why I was so adverse to using it. I made my way to Route 18 and chipped my way through each of the trainers on the route while collecting the hidden items. Finally, I made my way to Koga's gym and once again chipped my way through the Coughings, Grimers, and Arboks while once again wondering why I didn't use Struggle here. Once I reached Koga, I quickly realized that chipping away at his Pokemon won't work since they use accuracy dropping moves. Finally, I've decided that now is the time to pull out my trump card, Struggle. I used Struggle earlier, but I never explained how it worked. Struggle is a base 50 power normal type move that Pokemon automatically use when they have no other moves to use. It also deals recoil damage equal to 50% of the damage back to the user. This doesn't sound like a good move, right? Well, Poison Sting has a power of 15 and is resisted by all of Poison, Ground, and Rock. Even with Stab, it has a measly 22 power. It's pathetic. Struggle easily outmatches Poison Sting, and I quickly deal with Koga's Pokemon. I head to the Silphco building and steamroll through Team Rocket without much issue. Unfortunately, Weedle is not a good Pokemon. Rival 5 appears, and he is now in a different league. His Pidgeot and Execute are no issue, but his Gyarados puts up more of a fight. Problem number 1 is Alakazam, who fortunately doesn't outspeed me. Unfortunately, Alakazam is one of the strongest psychic types in Gen 1 and has an extremely high special stat who, with Psybeam, can deal stab, super effective damage to my Weedle. Its physical defense stats are just bad, and it tends to go down rather quickly. Problem number 2 is Charizard, who has far better defenses, but his damage from Ember is quite pathetic. All things considered, my level 69 Weedle is screwed. I exit Silphco to do some grinding, I return at level 75 and brute force my way through the fight once more. I make my way to Giovanni and crush his first 3 Pokemon, Nidorino, Kangaskhan, and Rhyhorn. Unfortunately, Nidoqueen hardwalls my Weedle once more with its double resistance to poison, and it's also immune to the poison status effect. I take note of how many power points I have left after reaching Nidoqueen and then adjust my strategy. I use up my String Shot power points and then use up Poison Sting until I have the same amount I used to get to Nidoqueen prior to my defeat. All summed up, I was able to deal with Giovanni's first 3 Pokemon using Poison Sting, and then switch to Struggle for Nidoqueen. I move to Sabrina's gym next and quickly clear it out. Sabrina is only a mild inconvenience at best, and I obtain the Marsh badge soon after entering the gym. Her Alakazam is just not strong enough to beat me. I crush the fighting gym for XP and then head to the Safari Zone to pick up Surf. I make my way to the power plant to pick up items. I make my way across Kanto to find more items to sell. I stop by the patch of grass south of Pallet Town to do some grinding up to level 78. Next, I make my way to Cinnabar Island while taking out the water trainers along the way. I enter the mansion and farm more XP off of the trainers inside, grab the hidden items, and then take a secret key and leave. I enter Blaine's gym and subdue his trainers. Blaine's AI is tremendously bad, and he goes down not long after the rest of his gym. I collect a Volcano badge and move on to Radiant City. Slowly, I make my way through Giovanni's gym, taking out each of his trainers one by one. So far, so good. Unfortunately, this run was not meant to be. Giovanni's Pokemon all perfectly counter Weedle. Poison Sting is double resisted by all of his Pokemon, save Dugtrio, who only normally resisted, while 2 of his Pokemon are immune to the poison status. Well, that's not such a big deal because I can use Struggle. Unfortunately, there is a limit to what can be done with Struggle. His rock Pokemon still resist Struggle, but even if they didn't, his Pokemon have enough HP that it becomes impossible to KO all of them with Struggle due to the recoil damage that it deals. I finish leveling up my Weedle level 89 and then use rare candies to bring it to level 100. Through a long and arduous training session, I'm finally ready to take on Giovanni once more. Like I said, this run was meant to die, even when I'm able to take out his first 4 Pokemon. I now recall what his final Pokemon is. It's Rhydon. As I said, run's over. Taking out Nidoking with Struggle quickly depleted my hit points and left me unable to even begin damaging Rhydon. It took me only one attempt at level 100 to realize how screwed I was. There was no point in attempting this fight. The first attempt I got at level 100 was close to ideal. It's possible this fight could be won without using Struggle and instead relying on the Badge Boost glitch. The Badge Boost glitch in Gen 1 is as simple as saying that anytime your Pokemon's stats are changed without leveling up in battle, the badge boost you normally get from having the corresponding badge is applied once more to all stats that were not modified. To put it bluntly, when Rhyhorn uses Tail Whip to lower my Weedle's defense, it actually increases his attack by 12.5% each time he does this. I believe my Weedle was hit with a Tail Whip 6 times during this battle. It may be possible for someone to get lucky enough to beat this fight using mostly Poison Sting, assuming that Nidoking and Nidoqueen both cooperate perfectly and never use a serious damaging move. But that's highly improbable, and I don't think it's worthwhile to even try. At this point the challenge is over. As far as I'm aware, no one has beaten Giovanni 3 with a Weedle. For the rest of the run I abandon the itemless rule and apply X items. I thought of trying to beat Rival 6 without using items, and I got extremely close a few times. I'm 100% certain that Rival 6 can be beaten without using items, but I don't care at this point. I eventually make my way through each of the Elite Four. Lorelei is a joke. Gen 1 AI forces her to use rest over and over while I set up with X attacks and sweep her team. Bruno is just a bunch of setup and, as always, a pointless trainer who can't understand how battling with Pokemon even works. Agatha is annoying, not hard. I spend a lot of time healing and using the Pokeflute to wake my Weedle, as well as applying X items until Golbat comes out. I wheel down the Golbat and then slowly reapply X items while healing my Weedle until I hit a critical mass and then sweep her team. The Golbat using Haze, that is. Lance has a Gyarados that I chose to set up on even though I didn't need to, nor should I have wanted to do this. Had I just KO'd the Gyarados right away, I would have been up against a Dragonair that constantly spams agility. I didn't really think about it very much, so whatever. Lastly was a champion. Technically his Pidgeot can beat my Weedle with a high roll crit from Sky Attack. That didn't happen, and I just ended up sweeping his team. The champion isn't beaten quite yet, although his team is merely a joke. His Charizard knows Fire Blast. Fire Blast has less power than Sky Attack, but Charizard has far higher stats than Pidgeot and can one-shot my Weedle with a crit. In order for that to happen, he has to randomly select Fire Blast, it has to randomly hit with an 85% accuracy, and it has to crit with a 20% crit chance. He gets Fire Blast, it hits, it doesn't crit. That was extremely anticlimactic. This challenge is obviously impossible either way. Even if I could have beaten Giovanni 3, it is impossible to beat Agatha, and I would have never beaten the champion in a million years. In closing, this challenge is impossible, but it was fun for what it was. I don't do any of my challenge runs in real time, nor do I ever intend to. This run ended up being more about movement and time efficiency rather than complex strategizing. Agatha, while annoying, is not actually difficult to beat. Anyway, thanks for watching and subscribe for more.